Man, I got to come up with an intro.
Gotta have some music.
But you know what? There ain't nobody going to take my car. I'm going to race it to the ground. It's a killing machine. It's got driving power, big fat tires, and everything. That's right. Tonight, Deep Purple, Machine Head. This an album I've wanted to do for quite a while. And when it got picked and placed on the wheel and came up on the wheel,
You did a little girl yelp when it came up, man.
yeah. like what the heck was that movie with the runners?
Oh, Chariots of Fire.
Yeah, that one. Deep Purple. I guess often thrown in with Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin as the premier bands of the early 70s rock. Major influences on a lot of bands. The infamous song on this album was instrumental in teaching a lot of young kids how to play guitar. It wasn't my first was Iron Man, but this one was probably my second, I think. But it was their sixth album. So second lineup, and this was the quintessential lineup of Deep Purple. John Lord, Ritchie Blackmore, Ian Gillan, Ian Pace, and Roger Glover. Surprisingly enough, only lasted one more album after this. But this album came out March 25th, 1972. So it's kind of cool that we're doing this because it's rounding on its 50th anniversary. Mm-hmm. So that's even more of an exciting reason to do this album. Other than the fact the influences. It was released on Deep Purple had their own label, Purple Records, kind of a subsidiary. I think it was started with Fireball or in rock. I'm not sure which record that label started with, but kind of cool that they managed to have their own label like Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin had formed their own label. I don't know how many bands do that nowadays, but that seemed to be a big thing for bands back then, and a big springboard for newer bands. I know, like Badfinger, they came out with the Beatles' Apple record, but it was recorded over a 3-week period in December 1971 at the Grand Hotel in Montreux, Switzerland, and they utilized the Rolling Stones mobile recording studio, which Led Zeppelin recorded in this thing. A lot of bands have recorded in this thing. Deep Purple did a lot of their albums after this in the mobile studio. And what's profound about that is the whole story behind the recording of this album, and something that happened that could have been disastrous for not just for the band, but for their equipment, their this mobile recording rig that they rented out. Um, but it was produced by the band themselves, which usually means Roger Glover did a lot of the producing, because he went on and became a producer for other bands. What is you guys' take on this record before I get into some of the story?
Go ahead, Bo.
I dug it, man.
Yeah.
I listened to this quite a few times, you know, and man, that opening song, you know, while I was driving too, you know, so it's like, man, it makes you want to drive fast, that's for sure.
It's one of the top driving songs.
Dude,
for sure.
Yeah, it's a great album, man. It's the first time I heard it all the way through. You know, I heard like at least 3 songs off this album, and this album did not let down at all.
Yeah, I think I've heard. I knew 3 of the songs as well, and I really never had heard too much of Deep Purple, especially the albums. I do own what's the album that I do have is Perfect Strangers.
Oh yeah,
that album I really enjoyed. I think those songs are badass. So I never heard the earlier stuff, of course, except for those 3 songs. And it's heavy metal, dude. But they were like into, you know, they were experimenting with stuff that, you know,
it was almost like psychedelic.
It was, right? That's what I got from it. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be more Black Sabbath, you know, more heavy. I don't think it was. It's heavy, but it's not. You know what I mean, right?
There was a time or two where when listening, it's like I could hear a Sabbath sound, you know.
Yes.
Like they have similar sounds, but you know, obviously they had a slightly different sound, not as dark and whatever, but there was a few parts of I can't remember the songs they were, but I'm like, man, that kind of, you hear it and it's like that kind of sounds like a Sabbath song, you know.
Yeah, but they were definitely like experimenting. I just didn't hear heavy metal in their music.
And not to mention, man, some of the guitar playing in this album was
phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Oof! I'm like, some of these solos, like even the first song, you know, the guitar, the organ solo, I'm like, holy crap, you know. And then when it went into the guitar solo, I'm like, that don't even sound real. And then like, I think it was like the second or third song. I don't know if it was the organ or if it was the guitar, but you know how like guitars, they have like a kill switch, like where they can turn their guitar, the sound off, on and off. It was almost like he was like just playing that, you know, as cutting it on and off, on and off, on and off. And dude, it sounded so cool, man. I'm like, this is amazing.
It was, right?
It was great, man. The guitar blew me away.
They jammed, dude. Yeah. They jammed.
And it's really catchy. It's a really catchy album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the, and I don't know, Little Bo, I don't know if you recall from the documentary, one of the focal points and the difference between Deep Purple and a lot of their contemporaries was John Lord's organ.
Mm-hmm.
That Hammond organ, it's like the standout. It's like the centerpiece, aside from Richie Blackmore, you know, just being a straight up guitar god.
No doubt, man. And I thought Ray Manzarek was a organ keyboard.
Oh yeah,
man. Yeah. When I heard this album, I'm like, there's a new dog in town.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest surprise for me. I wasn't expecting that, right? At least when I first heard it, I wasn't expecting the organ.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the one of the big things about Deep Purple is that John Lord, he brought, it wasn't just a side instrument anymore. Mm-hmm. He brought that to the foreground. And I don't know if you've ever seen any of the old concert footage for them. I mean, he stood and played this thing because he was playing the organ, the keys, and he had an electric piano to the side as well. So he pretty much had to stand to do all this stuff. But I remember watching footage of him getting the freaking organ rocking like he was playing a guitar, like he was just freaking out and out jamming with a guitar, but it was a freaking Hammond organ, and it just blew me away. I've been a fan of Deep Purple ever since then.
You can see it, man. You're like giddy. You're like giddy,
Yeah.
bro. You got a smile. It's like, dude, this is my jam.
And I mean, Jim, you said about Manzarek, it was a lot of what John Lord was doing had to do with the way he mic'd the sound coming out and the arrangement there and the reverb that he used in the speakers, and he set his own tone for the organ. And
out, man, he fast, dude. He was
right.
Jeez, I'm still blown away. Like, you know, it's I guess kind of jumping ahead, but my favorite part of this album was the organ playing.
Yeah,
and the guitar playing.
Well, he created it like a second guitar. So
yeah,
Deep Purple basically had two guitars.
There was a couple times where I think it was the third song, like the sound, the backing instrument was cutting in and out in it, but it sounded like they were playing the kill switch on, you know how the Les Pauls, they have a kill switch or something, you know, up top, and they can turn, you know, it'll go don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the organ or if that was a guitar, but whatever it was, it drew my attention instantly. And I believe it was on the third track, if I'm not mistaken.
You're talking Pictures from Home?
Yeah.
Pictures from Home, I believe it is, yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about, because there was some techniques that they were playing around with in that song, and I believe Highway Star and maybe Space Truckin', but I'm not positive on it, because I know they were shooting for a certain sound to go along with those. You know, they weren't just telling a story. They wanted an image.
Yeah.
So
it definitely sounded, the music, like I said, the guitar and the keyboards and all that stuff, it definitely sounded advanced for the time.
Yeah.
Especially with like the guitar solos, man. It was just a shred show. It was amazing, man.
And Blackmore, he wasn't no slouch as far as, he was a showman too. I mean, he was up there. He'd be up there throwing. That's where a lot of like the guitarists in Iron Maiden, like Yannick Jers, huge influence on Yannick Jers. Because you know how, I don't know if you've seen any of the footage of Yannick. He'll get the swinging the guitar around his neck. That's all Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore used to do all that stuff, swinging the guitar behind him and then, you know, bringing it back and just, you know,
stuff like a lot of the metal guys do now.
Yep.
Like this,
putting on a show.
Yeah,
exactly. So he was doing that 10 years before a lot of these other guys were doing it. Then now that he had some contemporaries that were all, some of the German bands had guitars that kind of played a little bit like that. But none that made the impact that Deep Purple did.
Was he in Rainbow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He went on after he left Deep Purple. He found the band Elf, and Elf recorded, I think it was their last record was on the Purple label. And that's how he got hooked up with them. And Elf, it was Dio, and a bunch of guitarists that he was with, or a bunch of musicians that he was with. And they recorded the first album with the Elf lineup. And then come around the time for the second album, they had replaced all those guys except for Richie and and Dio
Yeah.
with ex Deep Purple members.
Wow.
So it was like a Roger Glover, and I think John Lord might have even done some organ with them, but I'm not positive. So it was, I'll say sketchy. I'm not going to say that Richie kicked the other guys out, but my buddy James would say that's what happened. And they had originally booked the Montreux Casino, which is this big old building casino. Had a nice floor, nice acoustics. They were going to record there because it was going to be the off season, and nothing. It was basically going to be closed. At this resort, it was a part of a resort, and there was one last concert gig, Frank Zappa, and then they were going to go into session. So they get invited to go to the show, and some dickhead in the audience decides he's going to fire a flare gun. I guess he fired two of them into the roof of this place, and catches the place on fire. Well, Frank Zappa, they're playing. I guess they were playing for an hour, and he looks up at the ceiling and he says, "Nobody panic, but we got a fire." So it's like a crowded venue. I think there was 2,000 or 3,000 people there. I can't remember correctly. And they're getting everybody out. Thankfully nobody was hurt.
That's incredible, right? I read that and I was like, dude, nobody got hurt, nothing. Thank God, dude. What a miracle.
Yeah. And the crazy thing was that they were gonna have their equipment in the hallway. They had their equipment in the hallway, and somebody, I don't remember if there was Claude Knobs was a promoter in the area, and he's the one that pointed them out to Montreux Resort and all that stuff. I don't know if he had anything to do with it, or somebody said, we should move the gear, so it's not so crowded. Well, thankfully they did, or their gear would have been gone. And then there would have been so much for recording the album. But the place freaking burns to the ground, and out of this screwed up tragedy of this nice old casino building with nice acoustics for recording came probably their most famous song. Well, it is their most famous song, "Smoke on the Water," and it was that title. Is the image of the black smoke choking, the resort, as it blew out over the water, as this thing was burning down to the ground.
And it was like a big dangerous fire. Like it almost looked like if you took like a little diorama and like threw into a giant bonfire. That's what it would look like. Right. And from what I heard, it was smoke until the next morning.
Yep.
Like all through the night.
Yep. Two flares.
And they had a close call themselves, from what I read. They were stuck in the basement place until they were rescued by Knobs.
What's Knobs? I read that. What is Knobs? Is that a person?
Yeah, he's the guy that was
promoter or whatever,
like the promoter, the head of the locating this this venue or whatever.
I was trying to figure it out. I go, wait, did I miss something? Who's this Knobs guy?
and he is also who they dedicated the album to.
Okay.
Because he,
saved their lives.
He was instrumental in setting all this up, and after the fire, making them able to proceed, with the recording.
But was he the guy in the gatefold? Like, there was a picture of somebody. He was like from what I heard, he was like,
it's him right there.
Yeah, I forget how to phrase it, but he looked like he was like in there, and he was messed up, kind of.
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah, he was a Swiss businessman. He was the GM for the Montreux Jazz Festival, and so he was a local name, local promoter.
He got a shout out in Smoke on the Water.
Yeah,
Funky Claude.
Yep, Funky Claude. Let's see here.
And it looks like they moved to a pavilion after the fire, and they ran into some problems there with residents complaining to the police about the noise, and
they
the roadies holding the door shut so the police can't get in.
Yeah, they almost got arrested. They that was where they laid down the backing track for Smoke on the Water, was in that pavilion. And Knobs, said brought the hotel to their attention, because it was the resort was shut down for the winter. So this old, Gothic looking hotel is where they ended up going to eventually record.
See, from what I get from this, I kind of get like how the Beatles did Get Back, or the Let It Be album, where they did the rooftop recordings and stuff like that. The police, intervening, and just like Deep Purple, they got to the point to where they stopped listening to playbacks and just kept playing until they were satisfied. And I know the Beatles, they did their thing on the rooftop. They did a couple recordings here and there, and then they basically just kept the best one.
Yeah, there it is. Knobs, who had served as a volunteer fireman, knew that the casino was not actually a safe place and acted immediately to get them out. This act earned him a mention in the line, "Funky Claude was running in and out, pulling kids out the ground."
That's crazy.
Yeah, he is pictured in the liner notes.
I think it was pretty cool that it was Frank Zappa on stage.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
And I mean, you listen to the lyrics of "Smoke on the Water," and that's the entire story.
The thing that got me too is they didn't think too much of that song, right? Isn't that what it said, that it was like their third single or something like that, and it turned out to be massive, dude. Like,
yeah,
and they honestly weren't expecting that, because they sent the thing to Warner Brothers, and they're like, okay, we think the single and the hit's going to be Never Before.
Yeah.
They're like, you're crazy. It's Smoke on the Water.
Yeah.
And like, here it is, like probably one of the biggest rock songs ever made.
Like you said, most young guitar players, that's like their first, lick they learn.
And they didn't know it, man.
Even my 6-year-old, he can play it.
And they had no idea. They didn't think much of it, man. It's like a standard, right?
Yeah, it was slow going, and then what was it in '73 when it was what the heck was it? Was it re-released? I thought I wrote that down. I guess I didn't. There it is. Because Never Before didn't chart in the U.S., heavy radio play of Smoke on the Water, which was the album cut, eventually released it as a single in '73, and then the album took off. So almost 14 months later, it finally started to take off.
That's crazy to me, right?
Yeah.
That far after the album comes out, over a year, and that's when it starts finding. I know that's happened a lot. It's still crazy.
Now it initially it had reached 34, which that's fair.
It's respectable, right?
But after it took off, it peaked at number 7. So the album was it was their most commercially successful album for them.
You know what I liked about it? It's I listen to it on YouTube, right? And I always like listening to I like reading the comments. And dude, the comments for this album, people adore this album.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is my childhood. This has been listening to it. I still turn it up, and I'm 60 something years old, and I still turn it up. And the comments were just crazy. I had a really good time just reading the comments of everybody on this album. And they were all mentioning, what's the song? Lazy. Dude, people adore that song.
Great song.
They're like, dude, the intro to this song is just, man, it's the greatest intro. And I had to go back and listen to it. It's like, okay, did I miss something? And yeah, it's a good intro, but it's like, it's not Smoke on the Water. It's that song more than any other song in those comments was the song that kept coming up over and over again.
Yeah. Crickets. Anyway, yeah. Lazy's a really I think it's a really fun song to listen to, because it's got that blues groove, but then it's got that, like you said, the intro.
Yeah.
And to be frank, every song on this album has a fantastic intro. Mm-hmm. Even Smoke on the Water, I dissected that, and it's like the build up, because it starts out with one instrument, and it breaks in with the drums and the guitar, and then all of a sudden Roger Glover comes in with the freaking bass notes, and it's like, God, this song is even better than I remember. What the hell? I guess we'll talk about the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Let me bring that up.
I thought that was interesting, the way they made it.
Yeah. I always wondered that. I looked at that and it looked like a mirror image.
Mm-hmm.
This one. There we go. Yeah, you can kind of tell it's a mirror image, but I didn't know about the stamped. They took sheet metal and stamped the name in the album or in the sheet metal, and then held it up, their reflection to a mirror, and that's what aided in the distortion of the way they look. I'm like, that's really cool.
It is cool. I like that.
It's heavy metal. It's psychedelic. It has the feel of that. At least to me, it does.
To me, it looks like a metal album cover.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But there's more to it.
Yeah.
Shepard Sherbell was the photographer that took the picture. Took a reflection. He took a picture of the reflection. A small straight trace of him can be made out on the finished picture just below the head text, which I thought that was really cool too. So it must be, yeah, you can kind of see his arms, the shape of his arms holding the, yeah. Just amazing.
Machine Head. What's your favorite album? What's your guys' favorite song on this?
That's tough.
Let me see.
I'll tell you mine. I like Space Truckin'. I feel like it should have. I'm a big fan of the movie Heavy Metal, and it almost feels like that song should have been on that soundtrack.
Mine is Highway Star, man. That opening song. Like I said, if you got a song that makes you want to break the law, that's a good song.
I'd say Picture of Home.
Pictures of Home it's such that, Jim, you were talking about some of the solos. That song's got a great solo.
That would be my second choice for sure.
But never before being the single. It's a great song, but I never hear it. I never hear it on the radio, anything like that. I hear Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, Space Truckin'.
Yep.
Those were the three songs I've ever heard. I never heard the other ones.
Every once in a while, local radio station will play Maybe I'm a Leo, but it doesn't happen very often. And I have always been partial to that song, and I guess it's because I'm a Leo. I don't know. But
you're a law enforcement officer?
Who is?
Oh.
Woo! That went over my head.
I'm a Leo also.
Yeah.
I think I'm waiting for the hit. I should have been a Gemini. That's the big song I'm waiting for, but they haven't come out with that one yet.
Speaking of that, I just seen a recent new video that Deep Purple just released.
Really?
Yeah.
Like within the year, I think. I want to say the song's called like "Oh Well." I'm like, dude, I didn't even know these guys were still around or alive.
Oh, yeah.
So they are still together?
Yep.
Yeah.
They just put out a new album too. It's like covers and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, John Lord is deceased. And who is it? I think it's Roger Glover, Ian Gillan. Who is it now? Roger Glover, Ian Gillan.
You know what's
Ian
another
Pace.
thing? You know what's another thing about this? These songs are not short.
No, they are not.
They're not short, fast songs. These are all lengthy songs.
Yeah, as soon as I seen it only had 7 tracks, you kind of know they're going to be long songs.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised when I seen just 7 tracks. I'm like, wow.
Now there was a track that they had left off of it. That's on the 1 anniversary, which I have that the anniversary release. Called When a Blind Man Cries. That's a great song. If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. I don't know why it was recorded during the sessions, but I don't know why it was left out, because they put it on the B-side for Never Before. But whether it would have added to the album, I don't know, because it is a little slower, and majority, with the exception of Lazy, the majority of the songs kind of have a more of a punch.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the length too, you can only fit so many songs on a vinyl before you run out of room.
That's true. I believe it was 37 minutes. Is how long it was. So that might have had something to do with it. And not having enough to do a double, which I'm sure is probably not something that they wanted to go into anyway. One of the other things that I thought was kind of cool or funny or interesting was when they eventually set up in the hotel. They used that lobby, and they parked the mobile studio right outside the door, and they set it up, soundproofed it with mattresses, and their route, they had to walk, from here to frickin' Egypt to get around to get to the from where they were recording to the mobile studio. So they didn't do too many playbacks, and what I thought was cool was, for communication purposes, they set up closed circuit TV, which I didn't even know they had closed circuit TV.
I did not know they had that 50 years ago.
Yeah, it had to have been something that was relatively new.
Yeah.
But I really dug that aspect of it. They went over it in the biography of all the steps that they had to make, and they went from each member, and it was funny the way they all told the direction that they had to go, and I was like, no wonder they quit going and listening to the playbacks. And Martin Birch, the engineer, is a big name within, because he went on, he produced, I think he produced the majority of Iron Maiden's albums. And he did a lot, Led Zeppelin. So he's a big engineer name in the industry. But I don't know if it was his idea to set up the closed circuit TV, but it got to the point where he was like, "You guys want to listen to the playback?" And they were like, "No."
No, we're good. Dude, it seems like with a lot of these albums that we're going over, there's a lot of hurdles just to get them made, right? I don't know if that was a thing of the past. I'm sure it's probably different now. But my God, man, back in the day, these guys had to jump through hurdles to get these things recorded and done. And
well, it doesn't help when your selected venue burns down.
Exactly, but my God, it's just a lot of stuff, dude. And
yeah,
it's just truly awesome. The amazing music that they made.
Oh my God, yeah. And I guess when you like with you too, where they selected these, they didn't record in traditional settings, or what's another one? Hank 3's that record. It was kind of a non-traditional, and I guess they gotta, if they want a certain sound or atmosphere, that's the kind of stuff I guess they have to put up with. But the end result is, I guess, really is what matters.
Yeah, it's what it's all about.
Just ask David Coverdale.
Dude, it's funny how we keep going back to him, huh? Almost
well,
he's left an impression.
He's got a little more to do with this episode than, because he was in Deep Purple. So yeah, he replaced Ian Gillan.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Which album recommendations? Come Taste the Band, with Tommy Bolin on guitar. It's worth a listen. It's a good album.
How many albums have they put out, Donnie? If they're still around,
as of 2017, they have 20 albums, studio albums.
I thought it was up there.
And like I said, if they got a new video, they probably have another one out now. So I would say at least 21, maybe.
That's crazy.
Trying to think of what that one's called. Turning to Crime is what that one's called. And that is their 22nd album.
22 albums.
And let me tell you, they looking rough. Even Steve Morse, who's the youngest member of the group, he's the guitarist. He looking rough.
Something I just discovered, that the song Highway Star, both solos that are in that song are based on Bach-like chord sequences.
Yep.
Which I can see that, man, because it's awesome.
Well, I believe Space Truckin', I think he came up with the riff based on little comic book relation here, based on Batman 66 TV show.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, listen to Space Truckin' again after the show, and you can hear where he was picking that up at. But he said he came up with this riff, and he didn't know if he wanted to use it. So he took it to Ian, which at the time they did have a good working relationship. But he took it to Ian, and he played it for him, and Ian's like, yeah, we can use that. And that's when they come up with the whole idea surrounding, it was 1972 and the space race, and we were going off into the outer realms, and perfect song for that era.
It's funny you mentioned that. I didn't realize that. Yeah. It's almost like, is it that right around there is when Stanley Kubrick, well, No, I think it was 68. A few years before when he came out with 2001: A Space Odyssey and all that. It's all in that same area.
Yeah. What was that? 69.
It's 68, 69, right?
Somewhere in there. Yeah. So yeah, this came out not long after that. So it's
yeah.
Like,
I don't think there was before then. I don't think there was a ton of space songs, right?
Yeah.
No, I think.
Also, I see another fun fact. Pictures from Home had 5 solos on it. Each instrument in the band had their own solo, which was unusual for 72.
It's crazy.
Well, that's good. It's giving everybody, trying to make everybody happy, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's get their little time to shine.
And in the same year, another fun fact, Deep Purple held the Guinness Book of World Records for the globe's loudest band for a concert in 72 in London when they reached 117 decibels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and Ian Gillan, that was one of the signatures of Deep Purple was his vocals. That loud scream, the high pitch that he was able to emit, like "Child in Time," which was on in rock, is a prime example of his range.
Yeah,
great song. Definitely recommend listening to that album.
That song is what made Bruce Dickinson buy his first album.
Oh wow!
Child in Time.
Yep.
It's incredible how another thing that I get, how all these bands were like so intertwined with each other, right? I never knew that. It seems like they all hung out, they all knew each other, they all mixed in with the bands, kind of like it was a special time.
That's interesting.
Did he just fall over?
No, I'm straight. I'm straight, dude. Everything's watered down. I'm actually. This is probably the most straight I've been in this show since we probably started. I'm sober right now. I'm like there's nothing going on.
This ain't Burke's channel. We don't fall down on this channel.
No, I'm super. No, I was picking. I saw something on the floor. I'm super. I've been nursing this for like 3 hours. It's like it's basically Coke. That's all it is. Next time I'll be ready. I've just been on a lot today, man, and it's just like
that'll do it to you.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't be. I gotta be on today. I can't. I won't make it.
But yeah, this album is. Oh hell! I didn't even see him come in. How you doing, Cody?
I'm glad this album came out, man. Because I had never heard it. I got that other album by Deep Purple, but that was later on. So this
that's a great album too. Perfect Strangers, another recommendation. Perfect Strangers is a great album.
It's got 2 songs that I freaking love, dude. It's what is it? In Through the Back Door, oh my god. It's Perfect Strangers. That's one song, and then I think it's In Through the Outdoor or something. Those songs are freaking great jams. Great.
Knocking at your back door.
Knocking at your back door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knocking at your. Yeah, dude. Freaking.
Yeah, I think that was their big. What was one of the singles?
Yeah, that's a great song.
That was the when they reunited, because they did Come Taste the Band, and then they split.
Mm.
And 9 years later they got back together, and it was that same lineup, Lord Pace,
Mm-hmm.
Blackmore, Gillan, and Glover. But that only lasted so long because Ian Gillan and Richie Blackmore don't particularly get along with each other.
They would play those videos heavily on MTV, and that's how I found out about it. I went out and got the album because these songs jam, and they still do. They still do.
Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely one of those that stands the test of time, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight up rockers. Anytime I hear, like you said, Jim, earlier, anytime I hear Highway Star, and if I'm in the car, just perfect driving music.
Absolutely.
That one and Twilight Zone are the two best songs to drive to.
I think for me, there's a couple of Judas Priest songs that I think are like Heading Out the Highway.
Oh yeah,
Breaking the Law.
Yeah, dude, I love that song, dude. When I'm driving, that and You Got Another Thing Coming. It's like, so good.
I always like Scream for Vengeance.
Speaking of Judas Priest, I've seen that the bass player, what's his name, Glover, for Deep Purple.
Yeah,
he produced, I guess, one of their albums.
You see what I mean? Yeah. It's such a small world,
Yeah,
it was like sin after sin, or something like that.
Which is my favorite Priest, my favorite Priest album. There's got to be a list of the albums that he's produced somewhere here. As a producer, so he produced 3 Nazareth albums.
Wow.
Razmanaz, Loud and Proud, and Rampant. Elf's first album he produced, or no, that was a self-titled album. I think that was their second album. He produced all their albums. Yeah, he's got quite the list of albums that he's produced. Sin After Sin. He produced for Status Quo, Rory Gallagher, Rainbow, Michael Schenker, Deep Purple. Yeah. He produced all the later Deep Purple albums. I think he produced all the Rainbow albums. Of course, he was in Rainbow.
He's got a whole another career.
Yeah. Who else? Oh, he replaced he produced David Coverdale's first 2 albums.
Love that guy.
I know.
What? Come on, you got to listen to those first couple albums. Forget about that freaking 87 shit.
I don't know, dude. I don't know about that.
His earlier stuff is a lot better.
It's left such a lasting impression on me that I don't know if I could go back.
A bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. What are we doing next, Donnie?
Well, let's find out. Oh, I guess I might want to share it. I do that every time. All right. Here we go.
Oh,
the damn Eagles.
Hotel California.
The damn Eagles.
what was that mumbling? What did you mumble?
I said the damn Eagles.
You hate the fucking Eagles, man.
I'm a CCR kind of guy.
Wait up. Donnie, put that back up. What albums are left, man?
Who picked that album too, Donnie?
Yeah, who picked that album? Who picked the one we just did? Who picked Machine Head?
Machine Head was Coffee Breath.
Okay.
And I reached out to him. I gotta get his package sent out on Monday. What the hell is it? It's on here somewhere. Biggie Shack.
Oh shit.
So I got to reach out to Mr. Immortal Biggie Shack, New World Order Comics, and say, "Hey, brother, you got a package coming your way.
Nice.
I don't want to hear no bullshit."
He wins everything.
That's all right. He does his own giveaways. He did a giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Last night.
Put up the wheel. Let's see what's left.
Share. We got so 2 weeks we're doing Hotel California, and we got Axis Bold as Love, Aqualung, the White Album, Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, Nevermind the Bollocks, Harvest. That's Jim's favorite album. Sergeant Pepper, Number of the Beast, London Calling, which this has got to come up sometime.
I'm waiting for that one.
Tommy.
That one's going to be the one where I do.
Nevermind, Highway 61 Revisited, Southern Harmony. That's the Black Crowes album.
Oh my God, you got the Black Crowes on here?
Yeah.
That's their first album? You know what? That's the one with oh my God, with that oh my God, I know that album.
Too Hot to Handle. Isn't that the name of the song? Too Hot to Handle?
Too Hot to Handle Now. Yeah, I think that's on it. That's a good album. There's a lot of good. Oh my God, that's
their second album.
It's their second. There's a lot of really good albums.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Tom Petty, their first album, Led Zeppelin 1, Revolver, Master Puppets. I guess I already said Axis.
Got some good ones on there.
There's still a lot of good albums, bro.
The White Album, dude, I want to do that one so bad.
There's still a lot of good albums in here too. Besides,
you like the White Album?
That's my favorite Beatles album.
It's mine too. It's my favorite Beatles album too. It's my go-to one.
Mine's Abbey Road, which I think is in here. Oh, we got to do this album.
Boston. I'm glad you said it.
I was gonna make up a separate wheel.
That might be the week I come down with COVID.
Yeah, dude, I got the stomach flu.
I was gonna make up a separate wheel and put Boston all over it.
No.
And go, oh wait, this is the wrong one.
Do you want just all White Snake albums?
Yeah, most of those bands that are named after cities or whatever, I'm not a big fan of. Kansas, Boston.
Kansas is a state. Oh.
It's almost like they're interchangeable, right? It seems like it's the same guy. They just changed their name for a different place. Yeah, no, Donnie, no. All right, let's go. Hotel California.
All right. What is that? February 5th. Meet us back here at 10 p.m. Same cover to cover time. Hotel California. I think if I had to pick an Eagles album, it'd probably be that one. Just because I like that song.
It is a good album. I think we got that on vinyl, don't we?
I think so. Maybe.
I gotta see if I've listened to that whole album. I probably know all the songs, but I gotta listen to it. I think I remember the title track. Vaguely.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
It's a catchy little tune.
There's a good solo in that one. Iconic. Kind of iconic solo.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, it's very, very iconic.
Save it for the show, buddy.
Save it for the show.
Save it for the show.
That's why
I was about to say something else about it. I was like, no,
that's
wait.
why I'm kind of mumbling. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who popped in the chat. The G-Man, John Stout, Cody from Superior Hero Collectibles, and Unruly was in there earlier. I know we're on a little too late here for him, but it is what it is. I want to thank my awesome co-host for always making this a great show, and putting up with my bullshit. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. We discussed the Eagles Hotel of California. In the meantime, get out there and listen to some music.
Yeah.